Chapter 1: The Vanishing Heirs and the Legend Begins. The year was 1954,
The
and a
indentation is
chill
deliberate,
settled
Watson,
over the
placed
grand
recently,
Winthrop
despite the
Manor.
appearance of age.
This
It
old
signifies
English
something
house
important.
held a secret, a dark family curse known as the Winthrop legend. People said that anyone who inherited the main fortune would vanish or meet a sudden, terrible end. For generations, this legend had caused fear. Recently, the last surviving Winthrop heir, Mr. Julian Winthrop, was found dead near the estate's crumbling fountain. The police quickly called it a sad accident, a slip and fall. But Julian's close friend, worried and unsure, believed it was something more sinister. He felt the ancient legend had finally demanded a life. It was this friend who approached the famous detective Sherlock Holmes and his loyal partner, Dr. Watson, at their rooms on Baker Street. Holmes listened carefully, his eyes sharp. He dismissed the idea of a curse, but knew a human killer often hid behind such superstitions. The case was simple, yet deadly. Was it a genuine accident, or had the killer's mark already been placed upon the Winthrop family? Holmes agreed to travel to the manor immediately to uncover the truth hidden within the old legend.
Chapter 2: A Mark on the Estate. Initial Examination. Holmes and Watson arrived at the gloomy Winthrop Manor. The air felt heavy, not just with age, but with fear. The manor was huge and confusing, full of shadows. Holmes paid no attention to the expensive furniture. He was only interested in the facts. They went straight to the old fountain where Julian Winthrop had died. The local police had already cleaned up, but Holmes's eyes were like magnets for small details. He saw something tiny near the damp stone, a faint, almost invisible scratch. It wasn't a random mark. It looked intentional, placed there like a bad signature. "A killer's mark, Watson," Holmes whispered, recognizing the precision. This mark proved it wasn't a simple fall. While Watson spoke briefly with the nervous groundskeeper, Holmes examined the path leading to the fountain. He noticed that the grass and dirt near the fountain's edge had been disturbed recently, then quickly smoothed over. This suggested someone had hidden something or cleaned up a struggle after the police had left. The case was now officially a murder. The killer was still close, maybe even watching them, trying to protect their dark secret. Chapter 3: Victims' Last Steps, Alibis, and Suspects. Holmes declared that Julian Winthrop's death was definitely murder. Now he needed to know what Julian did in his last few hours. Holmes carefully questioned the staff and the remaining Winthrop relatives living in the manor. The dead man, Julian, had spent the evening with three main people. Lady Beatrice, Julian's stern cousin. She stood to inherit everything if Julian died. She claimed she was reading quietly in the library all night. Mr. Charles, the family lawyer. He was at the manor discussing Julian's complex will. He claimed he left the manor at 9 p.m. and drove straight back to London. Mrs. Hudson, no relation to their landlady, a young, nervous housekeeper who had been close to Julian. She claimed she was serving tea in the West Wing and saw nothing unusual. Holmes noted down the exact times and places. Every suspect had a perfect story, a perfect alibi. They seemed clean, but Holmes believed that the truth always hides in the most perfect lies. He knew one of these people was lying, using their perfect story to cover up the crime. He told Watson they must now search for the hidden motive, because the Winthrop legend was clearly linked to money and greed. Chapter 4: The Winthrop Vault Secret. Hidden motives. Holmes knew the motive lay in the family fortune, not in any ghost or curse. He demanded to see the family lawyer, Mr. Charles, again. Under Holmes' sharp gaze, the lawyer nervously admitted something important. Julian had recently found an old, secret document hidden behind a painting. This document spoke of a forgotten vault hidden somewhere deep in the manor's foundation. It suggested that the true, vast Winthrop wealth was not the house itself, but a collection of rare jewels and gold placed in this vault generations ago. Julian had planned to open it the very next morning. This discovery changed everything. The Winthrop legend wasn't a curse. It was a clever story invented long ago to scare people away from looking for the secret vault. Julian's death was clearly an act of desperate greed. The killer had to stop Julian before he could claim the real treasure. Holmes realized the killer was someone who knew about this vault and needed the money badly. Now the suspect's perfect alibis seemed even more suspicious. The reward, the secret treasure, was a huge reason for murder. Chapter 5. The Missing Piece. Unmasking the Alibi. Holmes and Watson returned to the library, focusing on the alibi of Lady Beatrice, the cousin who stood to inherit everything. She claimed she had been reading a thick, dusty book on ancient history the whole night. Holmes examined the book carefully. It was old, but the pages felt strangely crisp. He opened it and immediately pointed to a subtle detail. A tiny, almost invisible corner of a page had been folded down. A dog ear. "Watson," Holmes stated, "Beatrice claims she read this book for hours, yet only one page is marked. And look." He rubbed his fingers along the marked page. A faint, earthy smudge, Manor garden mud, was barely visible on the paper. Watson quickly realized the significance. Lady Beatrice had not been reading all night. She had quickly placed the marker and returned to the library after being outside. She must have slipped out to the fountain, committed the murder, and then rushed back inside. The mud on the page was the killer's careless mistake, the missing piece needed to break her perfect lie. Her alibi was shattered. The cold, greedy cousin was the most likely killer, driven by the vault's secret wealth.